Saurabh, I'll kick it off with you. Straight question. 3 weeks later, we're still seeing Mamata Banerjee writing letters to Prime Minister Modi. There's a great deal of damage control happening. Obviously, there's a political element to what's taking place in Kolkata as well. But your view on whether Mamata Banerjee has mishandled this entire issue?
The Bengal police and the Bengal administration certainly mishandled this, and if they wanted political directions and leadership, that was found to be wanting. Take from the word go. Now, when a crime is discovered, there's an attempt that's made to pass off a murder as a suicide. That's where the first, red flag goes up, and that's not the only red flag that goes up. The accused is on a motorcycle that's registered in the name of the police commissioner. That shows how close he was to the past that or at least that's the allegation that's being made. The principal, instead of being reprimanded or told to leave pending inquiry, is rehabilitated at a plush job. And everywhere an attempt is being made. Doctors feel that they are being intimidated, they are being browed. The parents feel that they are not getting justice, they are not even being heard. They had to wait several hours to even get to see the body, and that's where the rumor mill, it just starts churning over time. That's the time a strong administration should put out all facts in public domain. So that's the time, from whether it's the chief minister or anyone else. You don't want a dharna, you don't want a march, you don't want a protest march. What you want is facts in public domain and an independent investigation, not hang the accused in the next 3 days. You don't want kangaroo courts in our country. Ajmal Amir Kasab wasn't hanged in 3 days, whereas his crime was out in the open. Due process has to be followed. We don't want tamasha, we want justice.
Preeti, the Trinamool Congress under Mamata Banerjee has made it clear that they see an insidious attempt to try and, divert attention from the crime itself. They've pointed at the political angle that is very clear to see in the protests that have played out as well. Do you think overall this issue has been mishandled by a chief minister who otherwise is reputed to have things very much under control, is usually very comfortable on the streets? What's your view?
I really do think that from being on the defensive earlier to being on the offensive now for the TMC, it's not going to serve them well. Why do I say that? Let's hark back. So the question is, has the Mamata government mishandled the situation? And one really would think that to a limit, yes. And why I say that is, let's go right in the beginning when the incident took place. Mamata Banerjee was in Jhargram. The first 24 hours, I actually think she handled the situation well, because she immediately reached out to the parents. She said, okay, fine, CBI probe, give the Kolkata police this much time and we'll see. But then that's not where it stopped. Now let me tell you where I feel that the government, and one can say the Kolkata police or one can say the hospital administration mishandled the situation, but both come under the government. The Kolkata police, so does the hospital. I feel on pointers where it was mishandled, number one, is the sheer fact that be it the superintendent, assistant superintendent, who said that, this was a suicide. I can't even imagine that parents would be told something like that. And the fact that there is no action. Has there been action against the assistant superintendent? None of us know that. We don't, we don't have a press. We've had press conferences where spokespersons have come out and vehemently denied a lot of things. But have we been told if action has been taken against this assistant superintendent? Has heads rolled at the RG Kar hospital? No. Number one, I think in that account, yes, there's management. Number two, the sheer fact that, whatever his role is, and it remains to be investigated, the principal, Sanjay Ghosh's role, the principal, Sandeep Ghosh is the principal of the college, his role needs to be investigated. But if there has been a strong demand by the junior medical students there, junior doctors, saying that remove him, you remove him only to reinstate him, what kind of message are you sending? So I think that's a huge mismanagement on that account. The sheer fact that, the family had to wait for them to even see the body, the way they were treated. And eventually, when the protest began, Mamata Banerjee has always been, and I have to say, before this incident, every time you've seen her, whenever she's in crisis, to go and stand with the, with the aggrieved. You've seen her do that. Yeah. For the first time, I feel she should have gone and stood alongside, the junior doctors who've been in protest. So she says that she's with them, but she doesn't optics-wise, I don't see that happening. I don't see her standing with the, so she met them once. Yeah. But I would have liked to
and ironically protested as a CM, Home Minister in your own
I would
state.
have liked to see her go and stand with them. So yes, in these accounts, yes, I would think it's been mismanagement by the TMC government. The TMC government might blame politics for it, the BJP, but I think it's their job to politicize, and they should politicize. Yeah. Any opposition should politicize.
Nabila, you were there when some of the protests were actually happening. Does this mismanagement come, and you get a separate flavor when you're on the ground and actually seeing it in action? Was there a misjudgment about the nature of the protests? Because yes. It was misjudged as being overly political when it was. Politics may have been part of it, but surely there was a large organic element to it.
Shiv, clearly none of us are going to deny the fact that the Mamata Banerjee government mishandled it right from the word go. I think the worst handling happened in the first 24 hours with the fact that Sandeep Ghosh was placated in another hospital. The fact that the cops did not summon him and question the principal. He was at the helm of affairs. He wasn't even summoned and questioned by the Kolkata Police. That itself shows the kind of clout he held. And why do you see this kind of anger spilling out on the streets? Well, it could be very well the BJP backing it. It was quite clear that the Navana March was largely backed by the BJP, but did you notice one thing? That entire Navana March, not one Suvendu Adhikari or Sukanta Majumdar or Agnimitra Paul were anywhere visible in the protest, but yet they had that kind of strength. How is that possible? It can't be entirely political. That's why you see a student movement that gained ground, which Mamata Banerjee never anticipated. Her, I think, approach to most of the situations. No, most of the situations, I think the TMC has approached the situation with offense is the best defense kind of strategy, right? That's what we saw with Sandesh Khali as well. The Sandesh Khali incident is still ongoing. But never did I think the TMC ever imagine that they are middle class. They are people within city limits who stand up against them. Yeah. This is Kolkata. And you have students coming out to fight against the TMC, and it's not about TMC alone. They're just very frustrated with the political parties, politicians itself.
Political class.
Political class across West Bengal. They say they feel very defeated that all of them have just played politics around this issue, but haven't really come to ensure better protected environment. Let me tell you, like Preeti said, not one TMC Neta I saw in RG Kaur coming in speaking to the protesters there. 2 to 3 weeks they've been protesting on the ground. Shouldn't that be their first priority? But instead you see TMC Netas are firefighting on social media, trying to attack me, Akshita, and 5 other people.
I'm going to come to that point.
Is that your priority?
I'll come to the those points also in just a bit. Akshita on her show, since the crime was reported, Akshita, if I'm not mistaken, every single day you've actually led with this story. So you've spoken to many of the principals, the people in the party. What was the sense that you got? How did this, get out of their hands in terms of mishandling it? Because the Trinamool, like both Nabila and Preeti have said, is a party that, is very comfortable with the people on the streets, and somehow it seemed like an us versus them kind of situation.
Because I think, first of all, they were too busy with their PR campaigns, which they were trying to essentially cover their bases and try to suggest that we did nothing wrong, when you should have been focusing on not doing anything wrong. Cover your bases by doing the right thing. The other thing I feel, Shiv, is that yes, Mamata is most comfortable on the streets, which is why perhaps she hit the streets again, which is when you're the chief minister, you're supposed to lead. You can't be out there protesting. There are certain circumstances where you can protest. There are certain circumstances where you take charge. And we didn't see that at all. From the get-go, I believe that there was a cover-up, there was a conspiracy, and there was an attempt to shield certain people. And the Trinamool Congress is trying to claim that didn't happen. Even today, we still have evidence pouring out that suggests that there was a cover-up in progress, that while you can't completely pin the blame on the Kolkata Police, you very much can say that they must be pulled up for not looking into the cover-up angle. Sure, the CBI hasn't managed to arrest anyone, and that's because they too have highlighted that it is a rape, but what about the cover-up? Why didn't the Kolkata Police look into it? The other aspect I want to talk about is that, look, the TMC has been saying so many lies being spread on social media, so much fake news doing the rounds. A rape is a rape. Sure, there was a lot of talk that this happened, that happened, which wasn't the case, and it was established in the post-mortem report. But does it take away from the fact that a crime happened? No, it doesn't.
Gaurav, the focus on, attacking what they believed was a conspiracy against the Trinamool government is something that started right off the bat. As Preeti said, it started from being very defensive about what had happened when a crime had been committed. There was no dispute over the fact that a young doctor was dead. It seemed like that team, Mamata, seemed to lose its handle on it right from the word go.
You're absolutely right. If only information had been put out in public domain, in today's day and age, transparency is the best thing. That this is what investigations have revealed. But the fact that you have gundas who go into the place, who are those gundas? What is their background? Only much later will we know. Was the crime scene tampered with? Even yesterday or today, you had the parents tell journalists, or they've been quoted in the media as saying that the body was in different colored sheets initially, and later and much later, things had been, according to the parents, covered up. If initially it was said that they were handed over the body and the cremation took place in good time, here the parents, what they're saying today. So if the parents don't think they're getting justice today, then somewhere down the line the system has not delivered. And if the system even today tries to say, no, we did everything perfect, and it's the opposition party that's politicizing this thing, well, then you're blaming the wrong people. It's the job of the opposition to indulge in politics. That's why when it was happening in Delhi, with Nirbhaya we saw politics. With Abhaya we are seeing politics. In any case, we will see the opposition try to put the government on the mat. But the job of the government is to deliver justice to the victim. Now, of course, it's for the CBI to investigate. But once the CBI is investigating the case, as far as the Kolkata Police is concerned, they can look at other aspects of this case. They can look at how do you make other hospitals more secure. Those are things that the Mamata Banerjee government should have been doing to ensure that the criticism does not come in a way where every day a cover-up is being alleged on virtually every guest on your show is alleging that there's a massive cover-up. There are all sorts of rumors doing the round, and we don't want to fuel those rumors about what's been happening at that hospital and what does this young doctor get to know, and was it an attempt to silence her and all that stuff. So only when facts emerge in public domain, clearly much better was expected of Mamata Banerjee, because as Preeti and Nabila and Akshata pointed out, she's seen as someone who's always stood with the victim. Here she stood with the state.
So where did it go out of hand in that case, Preeti? The comfort that Mamata Banerjee has, with the public, and like you rightly pointed on, I think that's a very important point, that she always likes to be seen as standing with, the aggrieved, no matter where they are, and most certainly in Kolkata and elsewhere. Why didn't that happen this time? Like, for example, on the night of the protest, was there a reason why Mamata Banerjee decided not to be there? It was only the next day when she conducted her own protest.
Well, there are multiple theories to that, Shiv. The fact is, incidents like this, sadly, unfortunately, happen across the country. It's how a government deals with an incident. And it really warranted more from the Mamata Banerjee government. There are no two ways about it. And that said, but sometimes also there are incidents, Shiv, that become larger than life. And you and I have both reported through Nirbhaya. And in hindsight, if you look at it, Nirbhaya was actually a case which was cracked in 3 days, right? And yet, and it was a difficult case to crack. Gaurav knows it, he's reported on it. It wasn't easy. Yet we saw days on end protests of asking for Neeraj Kumar to step down, who was the Commissioner of Police at that point of time. In hindsight, when I look at it as a journalist, I think he did a good job, number one. Number two, in this particular case, politically, was it mishandled? Yes. The Kolkata Police, there is a lot wanting from them. I think they're bungled up at various levels, but if you also look at it, the sheer fact that they did get the accused, this is not a gang rape. This is a rape by one accused, and the Kolkata Police got that accused before the CBI moved in. Clearly, our sources tell us that it is only one person, it's not a gang rape. Then I feel what happens is, with everyone keeps saying, like Gaurav was talking about how things can get politicized, politics will happen, it should happen. That aside, I feel when there is information that is coming in real time, and I feel all of us, even me, fell for certain pieces of information that was coming in, and maybe should have rethought. Because allow me to finish. Because what it does is, it then fuels a system, and something, because there are people are angry. How many of us actually believe this was only one person? Because, the act was so heinous that all of us assumed and believed and wanted to believe that this cannot be the doing of just one person. There have to be more. It has to be a gang rape. And that was the kind of sentiment. And then when information starts coming in bits and pieces, and some of it even said by the friends and family of, Abhaya's parents, you tend to believe it. So when you have somebody from the family standing beside the family saying that the legs were at a particular angle, that the pelvic girdle was crushed, fractured, that there was 150 grams of semen in her vaginal cavity, you tend to believe it, and that heightens the outrage against the system. But this is also misinformation. And some of us, and I'm not, absolving myself of it, because when I heard that 150 grams of semen, I myself was like, really, then this has to be a gang rape. You don't think of it in that. And we've all lived through Sushant Singh Rajput. We saw how misinformation completely spiraled out of control, where the CBI is yet to close that case. And we all know that, all our sources tell us that it was a suicide in Sushant Singh Rajput's case. So I feel, what really happens is, Shiv, that when information like goes out, which is misinformation, the outrage only trebles, and then, you can't really do anything. Then you're on the defensive, you're on the offensive, but the blowback is so strong that it gets difficult.
So my only point to that is, first of all, it started off with the anger and the protest being organic. This wasn't manufactured based on outrage of certain claims versus counterclaims. It was the most basic fact that a doctor was raped and murdered in this manner in a hospital. That's what started it. That's where the outrage stemmed from, because you had medical professionals out there. Yes, there were a lot of claims that did the rounds, but I think that while you can, say that there's a need for us to also look into how this kind of news spreads, it all came from family members. It all came from people who worked in the hospital. And I think at every point, we as a news channel also ensured that. For example, when there was talk of gang rape, what do? You get forensic experts on. You get doctors on who also backed that. So you do that till you get a post-mortem report, which kind of confirmed that, look, these are the facts. So I think at no point can we really say that, look, we have to stay away from reporting on any of these claims that are doing the rounds, especially when these claims are made by family members, especially when they're made by friends.
It's not correct to shoot the messenger the way some in Bengal seem to be doing, targeting the media.